for the Mayflower in Plymouth, Massachusetts in 2000. She continued to write articles for the Mayflower Quarterly, as well as assisting visitors with their research, especially their efforts to become members of the Mayflower Society. Linda continued to speak to a variety of organizations and organized annual meetings of the Mayflower Society members until 2003. Throughout the years, Linda has researched and published a number of articles and books, 3 of which are in the Library of Congress. This extensive background in research and genealogy has provided Linda with a wealth of resources, which she willingly shares. She is a professional genealogist, providing her skills to numerous people all over the United States. She has taught genealogy classes in 5 states over a period of 50 years and is currently teaching Saturday afternoon classes at the Berea branch of the Madison County Library. Her topics range from basic genealogical techniques to using legal documents such as wills, deeds, and censuses to tapping numerous sources on the internet. She says that she is very old, but continues to share her vast knowledge and expertise. The Madison County Historical Society is honored and proud to present the specific historic contribution for genealogical expertise to Linda Ramsey Ashley.
Sharon.
I think Tom is.
Sharon.
Congratulations.
Sharon,
It's lovely without a frame. Would you like to say a few words? No. I don't think I can add anything. Already said. Thank you.
Linda. Yeah,
My director.
yeah. You can come up a little bit. Okay.
If you would, at the end, please, award winner stay so we get a group picture of you. Berea Tourism. The Berea Tourism Commission was organized in 1968. It moved into the historic L&N Railroad Depot in 1987, where it not only markets all the attributes of Berea, but also displays L&N memorabilia, Churchill Weavers artifacts, and a variety of crafts which derive from the Appalachian area history. Berea Tourism's broad focus on marketing the city as a whole creates a unique message that Berea is truly for everyone. Part of tourism's vision in recent years has been to examine the incredible historic attributes of Berea and shine a spotlight on the people, places, and events that help shape not only our wonderful city and county, but the state of Kentucky as a whole. This can be seen in the addition of historic content shared on social media, references to major historical moments in paid magazine editorials, and a special location on the Visit Berea website dedicated to the history of the area. Berea Tourism has supported the annual Battle of Richmond reenactment by providing golf carts and drivers to transport handicapped individuals. Most recently, Berea Tourism has agreed to partner with Madison County Historical Society with Sharon Mitchell in the lead to broaden the historical information displayed on the website by building a new guide to African American history in Berea. This guide will take visitors on a journey through shared stories, local people, and notable locations that contributed to the foundation and advancement of African American communities in and around Berea. Donna Angel is the Director of Business Development and Tourism for the city of Berea. She is known for her efforts in preserving Berea's reputation as the folk arts capital and crafts capital of Kentucky and the historical significance of the city. These purposes emphasize the origins of many of Berea's current arts and crafts business from Eastern Kentucky's mountainous region pioneers. The Historical Society is honored and pleased to present this award to Berea Tourism.
Well, he didn't speak, so Ms. Linda did. We're extremely honored to accept this award. It is quite an honor. Number one, to have so much work and passion and caring and sharing about preserving our historical sites, our views, and our history and culture of Berea. So we are extremely happy to work with Sharon and the Historical Society here on all the new things that we have in store coming for our historical pieces of Berea. Not just only with our community center that we're building, many do not know about that yet, it's in this town, We also have a new map that we're working on as well. Any Gibbs, our media manager over here, is working on new brochures to highlight our historical society groups and our sites all over Madison County, just not here in Berea. So this is a great new way for us here in Berea to be able to spotlight more of Madison County and the history that we stand for. We're privileged here in Berea to be able to house and host tour buses that come through here. So we look at the historical piece and the buildings that we have here in Berea as a new opportunity to highlight all of Madison County with the groups that continuously come through here, that we have more and more to share about the historical pieces that we offer. So on behalf of the tourism staff, to my table over here, Danny, Charlene, Robert, and Wendy here with us tonight. It takes all of everyone to really pull off our community and all the great things that we're striving to accomplish and go forward with. So thank them as well, because this is really a nice tribute to all of the Berea tourism staff. We're very honored. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Beverly and Shirley Desarn. Beverly Desarn is a native of Madison County and completed his education here. Shirley Desarn comes from Jessamine County and graduated from Transylvania University and EKU. Both had long careers in teaching in local schools. They purchased their farm in 1979 on the Bend Road in College Hill. Subsequently, they learned that the log house located there had been a stagecoach stop and a way station with a lower level slave quarters and a summer kitchen. To address this situation, they sought advice from local craftsmen and builders and decided to restore the cabin. The cabin was being used as a barn at that time, with many animals homesteading inside. The logs were taken down, a new foundation with limestone facing was laid, and the logs were reassembled. Beverly and Shirley learned how to mix and apply the chinking between the logs. They were thankful to the talented craftsmen from Madison County who were willing to help restore the building to its original appearance and once more become a home. The couple found a pioneer cemetery on a hill adjacent to their new home. One of the legible headstones is for Eliza, the daughter of Galen White. Upon further research, it was determined that this was Elizabeth Hill, daughter of a Revolutionary War soldier. Beverly and Shirley maintained the cemetery. In 2001, Pat and Dan Crawford, who live in the Bend, informed Shirley and Beverly of their intention to sell part of their farm where the one-room Bend school was located. To prevent the building from being torn down, it was offered to the Desarns if they would move it to their farm. The one-room school had strong support beams, making it possible to move on a flatbed trailer to a site 2 miles away. Upon being loaded, its current occupants, numerous mice, scrambled out the back as the Lexington Herald-Leader journalists took photos. The Desarns were able to save the school Beverly had attended and where his mother Alma had been his teacher. Alma and her sisters Ada and Virgie Smith had been educated at the Bend School as well. Ada also taught at the Bend. When the school closed in 1947, it became a dwelling, so restoration began by removing all partitions, leaving the original walls. The front wall had patches of black paint, which had been the blackboard. One of their most rewarding restorative achievements was having period windows constructed from salvaged windows from a local abandoned home. The Madison County School System donated antique desks, which had been in storage. Other people donated furnishings and books in memory of loved ones. After approximately 2 years, the project was completed. The Desarns, as retired teachers, have always welcomed students to the school. In 2004, fourth graders from Daniel Boone Elementary were the first group to visit. Since then, other elementary schools, especially Waco Elementary fourth graders, have taken field trips to the Bend School. Beverly gives a presentation telling the students stories about what it was like to attend a one-room school. At the end of the presentations, he always asks, how many of you would like to attend a one-room school? Without fail, all students eagerly raise their hands. An outdoor community church service is held annually on the grounds in the fall. Beverly and Shirley welcome all visitors to the school and eagerly share their vast knowledge of the local history. They only ask that you sign the guest book. The Madison County Historical Society is honored and pleased to be able to present our 2023 Preservation Award to Beverly and Shirley Desarn for the restoration and preservation of historic structures.
Beverly and I are so very grateful to have been chosen to receive the 2023 Preservation Award. We, along with our family who are here tonight, and our daughter Callie is joining us by Zoom in Tennessee. We sincerely thank the Madison County Historical Society for this award.
We have some award winners who are no longer with us, so we put their photographs up for you. Dorothy Dudley White Miller was born May 29th, 1914 in Richmond, Kentucky. The second of 6 children born to Bertha Ballou White and John Andrew White, a school teacher and alumnus of Brea College. She was married to Alvin D. Miller of Padentown. She grew up at River Hill in northern Madison County and was a member of the Cleveland United Methodist Church at River Hill, where she served as church clerk for over 60 years. The church later merged with Wesley United Methodist Church of Lexington. Mrs. Miller was educated in the racially segregated Madison County school system with graduation from Richmond High School in 1932 as class salutatorian. She earned a scholarship to Knoxville College in Knoxville, Tennessee, where she attended for 3 years before earning her BA degree from Kentucky State College in Frankfort, Kentucky. In 1958, she earned an MA degree from the University of Kentucky. Mrs. Miller's 41-year teaching career began at a one-room school at Callaway's Creek, the school she first attended as a student. She later taught at Middletown Consolidated and Grassfield Elementary Schools. When the public schools were integrated, Mrs. Miller was forced by the Madison County School System to obtain library certification in order to continue employment, in spite of her master's degree in education. She attended Eastern Kentucky University to attend library certification and was assigned to Whitehall Elementary as a school librarian until her retirement. During her teaching career, she brought fear and inspiration to her students and encouraged them to reach for the stars and to do their best. She was exemplary among teachers, as any student in her classroom would attest. She inspired many with her humble and reserved demeanor. One of her students, Ann Peyton Spann, the first African-American graduate at Eastern Kentucky University, attributed the inspiration to become a teacher and school administrator to Mrs. Miller, her 5th grade teacher. Mrs. Miller's accomplishments are many. She was named Distinguished Citizen of Richmond and Madison County twice, and a Dorothy White Miller Day was observed in Richmond. She was commissioned a Kentucky Colonel in 2003 by Governor Patton. She was a dedicated member of the Phyllis Wheatley Chapter Order of the Eastern Star of Richmond, Kentucky, and was the author of the History of Cecilia Dunlap Grand Chapter Order of Eastern Star Prince Hall Affiliated Jurisdiction of Kentucky, 1895-2004. She was an active member of many organizations, including the Concord Homemakers Club, AARP, NAACP, the Blue Broadus Simpson Nolan Family Reunion, and the Retired Teachers Association. Thanks to the foresight and organizational skills of Mrs. Miller, much of the history of Madison County's education of its Black students has been preserved. A significant contribution was her collection of school graduation programs from the mid-1930s to the mid-1950s. Perhaps her best accolades come from her students and colleagues. Mrs. Miller was kind and she was fair. She inspired us to do our best. Dorothy Miller was a dedicated educator who nurtured her students in appreciation for their heritage and preparation for future achievements. She also contributed to numerous organizations in the community, including documenting their activities and history. She is most worthy of this recognition as Madison County Historical Society Educator Award. Accepting the award is her niece, Dorothy Booker.
awesome occasion for all of us, and we came as a group to come down. She was very inspiring for our education, and I learned to read from her little library in her living room. So it was, I'm nervous, I'm not a public speaker. But anyway, thanks so much for the award. We really appreciate it, and we'll tell everybody about it in the family.
Got the clicker.
Richmond tourism. Richmond tourism, founded in 1981, has deep roots in promoting the history of Eric County and has worked to preserve and promote Richmond's historical heritage in order to attract more visitors interested in its rich history. Supporting historical preservation is crucial for maintaining a city's unique identity, cultural heritage, and historical significance. Richmond Tourism has provided support to historical art attractions by funding thousands of dollars in sponsorships for the Claremont Foundation, which is Whitehall, Fort Boonesborough Foundation, and the Battle of Richmond Association. These funds have allowed these sites to purchase artifacts, market special events, and pay for things not normally covered in their governmental budgets. It has also developed the Battle of Richmond Driving Tour, the Connections publication, an African American Heritage Guide, and the Downtown Walking Tour booklet. On the digital side, its monthly tourism talk TV show has featured historic documentaries that tell the story of Richmond and Madison County. Recently, History with Dave has become a fan favorite. Whenever possible, Richmond Tourism advocates for historical preservation. During the early 2000s, they were instrumental in developing the Richmond Historic Overlay. This overlay provides protection to historic properties in downtown area. The Board of Architectural Review uses its guidelines as part of the criteria. Not to be forgotten is its flair for the dramatic. Over the years, it has recounted and highlighted the city's history and dramas such as Stroll Through the Past at Irvington and Downtown, Ruby Richmond, Historical Housewives, and group tour step on guides. Most recently, it has led the effort to celebrate the city of Richmond's 225th anniversary, developing the Doors of Richmond poster, the 225 logo, and the 225th anniversary video. These marketing efforts promote heritage tourism with encouragement to visitors to explore and appreciate our historical sites and landmarks. Heritage tourism brings economic benefits to the community while fostering appreciation for our local history. Madison County native Director Lori Murphy Tatum has worked in the travel and tourism industry for over 20 years and has received numerous certifications in the tourism city administration field. Cincinnati native Assistant Director David Jones has worked in the tourism and historic preservation field for 7 years and earned a Bachelor of Arts in History from Eastern Kentucky University. We are pleased to present this award to Richmond Tourism. I have to just be loud.
I'm going to tell you all a quick story because that's what tourism is all about. We're storytellers. And I am a self-proclaimed history nerd. And the reason for part of that is this lady right here. When I was 8 years old, she escorted my mother and father and I to Washington, DC. And I was absolutely just enamored with everything. And I loved every minute of spending time with her. And I am thrilled that I get to spend time with her every week as she has an office in our office. But we love to be storytellers. We love to tell about the history of Madison County. And I'm going to give you all a little tips. And when we think about tourism in Madison County, we think about Kentucky. Where do you think we rank with economic expenditures in tourism? With top 50? I like Judy's thinking, she says number 1. We're not quite there. We are in the top 10. Madison County is 8th in Kentucky for tourism. And it is also noted that if a visitor is visiting our area and they are wanting to learn about history, they're wanting to learn about their ancestors, they will spend $200 more than the average traveler. So that is wonderful for our community. So thank you, Madison County Historical Society. We love this. I'd like to thank our board members that are here. They are all history nerds along with me, and we love everything about Madison County and Richmond and telling our story. So thank you.
Paul Nelson Tower. Paul was born and raised in Massachusetts. He served in the military during World War II and the Korean War. In 1954, he brought his considerable energies and talents to Berea, where he met and married Barbara Bird, who earned the esteem and affection of fellow students and professors, and in 1958 completed a BA in English. Paul left Berea to embark on a brief but accomplished career as a high school teacher. In 1965, he left his position as head of the English department at Triad High School and was joyously welcomed back to Berea College, where he was placed in charge of the theater program. For 21 subsequent years, Paul worked his miracles at Berea College stages, and in the lives of countless students. Eddie Kennedy, who in his senior year began to act under Paul's direction, explained that Paul helped students believe they could do things they thought weren't possible. And then he helped us to do them. Many who were Paul's students 30 years ago are still out there doing things he taught us. His role has been described more as a mentor and coach than just teacher. Paul Power's most significant production was the outdoor drama Wilderness Road. He acted and performed support activities in the original run from 1955 to 1958. With his considerable theatrical talents, he produced and directed its resurrection from 1972 to 1980. This historically based play focused on Appalachian life from the early settlement of Kentucky through the Civil War. The production became Berea's first destination activity and started Berea as a tourism and crafts industry. Paul was instrumental to the work of the Berea Players, the Theater Apprenticeship Program, the Summer Repertory Theater, and the Henrietta Childs Children's Theater. He viewed drama as a means of fostering community among the diverse and sometimes divided people. Shortly before he retired in 1986, he remarked, "My own goals and objectives have always been to cement the relationship between Berea students and the local community. Children are the best means of breaking down prejudices. With the children's theater course that I'm teaching this summer, I will try to build a rapport between my students and the children of the community." He was renowned for forging students, faculty, and staff members, and townspeople, adults, and children, the hearing and the deaf, into tight-knit cast and audiences. Several Bereans recount eagerly waiting to learn whom Paul had cast in his latest play. One friend remarked, "You just never knew whose name you'd find on the playbill." Paul's creative energies extended beyond acting and directing. He authored everything from full-length musical comedies to historic vignettes to scripts for the deaf. He judged high school drama competitions, taught sign language classes in Richmond and the Park, and baked the most divine of angel food cakes. He was a funny, engaging, kind, and generous man. In 1995, the Berea Alumni Association presented him with the Award of Special Merit. The Madison County Historical Society is pleased and honored to present the Educator Award to Paul Power. Accepting the award is his widow. I'm sorry, accepting an award is his widow, Barbara, and daughters Andy and Heather. It looks like a granddaughter as well.
This is just unreal. It makes me so happy that Paul has been recognized for this award. And I'm so happy to have two of our daughters with us and one granddaughter. And we were very fortunate to have not only our family, but our theater family. And tonight we have Pamela Corley, Mike and Linda Ross, Barbara Baker, Judy, Norma and Eddie. And I hope I didn't forget anybody. And then our very
best neighbors in all the world, Betty and Dave Olinger, their daughter Jocelyn, and her daughter Julia. So I thank everybody that had anything to do with this. It just makes me so happy.
Bill Robinson. Bill Robinson moved to Madison County in 1978 to become editor of the Richmond Register. After attending Bryan College in Dayton, Tennessee, and then graduating from the University of Tennessee in 1973, he worked for a series of weekly papers before returning to Kentucky, the state of his birth. The opportunity to edit a then daily newspaper in the city the size of Richmond, especially one that was home to a regional university, was irresistible. In retrospect, Bill says he may have been in a bit over his head, but when he found that Madison County was also home to both a Civil War and a Revolutionary War battlefield, he knew he'd made the right move. Seeing history as key to understanding the present and mapping the future, Bill said he always had the Register cover news about the Historical Society, Madison County Civil War Roundtable, Society of Boonesboro, and other such groups. After 6 years at the Register, Bill went to work at Berea College Public Relations Office for 5 years and learned much about the history of the college and its community. Among his duties was revising a booklet about the college's history. At Berea, Bill became better acquainted with Professor D. Warren Lambert, one of the county's noted historians. Later, Bill had the privilege of formatting Dr. Lambert's book about the 1862 Battle of Richmond, when the Wright Bears fell. Bill took advantage of living in a university town and took graduate courses in history at EKU. Inspired by the Historical Society's bicentennial history of the county, he researched the life of Curtis Field Burnham, who was instrumental in keeping Kentucky in the Union and later helping create the state's first 2 public teachers' colleges. From this research, he wrote 2 papers on Burnham's life, one presented to the Civil War Roundtable and the other to the Historical Society. In 2004, Bill settled back at the Register, writing local news and features that often included information about the activities of the Historical Society, the Civil War Roundtable, and the newly created Battle of Richmond Association. Among these were stories about the Society's observance of the World War I centennial and the 1862 Battle of Richmond sesquicentennial. He also wrote articles for the Battle of Richmond magazine, which is published every few years. Even in retirement, when a new edition of the magazine was published in 2022, Bill wrote every article. When he retired in 2017, Bill said he was surprised and gratified when the Battle of Richmond Association presented him with a plaque recognizing his writings about the association's activities. In 2016, Bill shared with Richmond Register's news writer, Michaela Ballard, the annual State Media Award from the Kentucky Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. This was for a series of articles that he and Michaela wrote about efforts to make the historic Boone Trace part of the nation's walking trail system. Bill and his wife Elizabeth moved to Georgetown after his retirement to be full-time grandparents, but his interest in history remains strong. He is in his second year of a 2-year term as president of the Scott County Historical Society. And I must say, rewriting and editing what he wrote was very tough because he's an excellent writer. The Madison County Historical Society is pleased and honored to present the Author Award to Bill Robinson.
Thank you so much, and I feel humbled and see other people who got awards tonight. So, gee, I'm in awfully good company. It's nice to be remembered, and we've been going 6 years now, and to be remembered positively. That's a good thing. But it was great for my wife and I to spend our careers here and to be to be in a place with such rich history. And then people who appreciate their history and who preserve it and propagate it and share it with others. And that's really special. And I commend you all for that. A lot of these things, I was just the writer. You all did the action, did the preservation, did the research, and I was just the lucky guy who got to write about it. Thank you.
Our last honoree is receiving the James D. Shannon Lifetime Achievement Award. And this goes to Madison Campbell. His photo is up there. He wrote an autobiography, and that was in the book. Madison Campbell was born to Lucy and Jackson on September the 1st, 1823, near Silver Creek in Joe's Lick Knob. He was enslaved to L.D. Campbell. In his autobiography, Madison describes his boyhood playing with the owner's sons, Billy, Archer, and Davy, while assisting in the sugar making and working in the cornfields. He learned to make baskets and weave chair bottoms from his father. He kept the money he made from selling them and paid Davy 50 cents to teach him to read at night. By age 17, he considered himself to be a bit wild, and it took the sudden death of a white friend to move him toward religion. I never had anything to strike me so forcibly in all my life, and a thought came to my mind whether he, Billy, was in heaven or torment. Madison says he found Jesus at a religious revival and wanted to join the Baptist church. However, by law, a slave had to belong to the church of the master who gave the certificate. LD was of the Methodist persuasion and would not give permission. Madison joined the Methodist church with baptizing by pouring on water in August of 1842. Old ministers in the church recognized his abilities and encouraged him to go forward exhorting. He was licensed to exhort by a white Methodist minister. In 1846, he was preaching in Garrett County at a schoolhouse. And in 1852, he was licensed to preach. The more he read the Bible, he decided, I found I will not make an honest Methodist minister. When his master died, he appealed to the widow, Hannah Campbell, a Baptist, who agreed to give him a certificate which allowed him to join the Richmond Colored Church, where he was baptized by immersion. In August 1857, he was sent to the Tates Creek Association for ordination by his church. There he was examined by a council of white ministers from the Tates Creek Association, who found him qualified for ordination. On the third Sunday in June 1858, he was called to be pastor of the United Baptist Church Colored of Richmond. In 1859, he received 150 certificates from slave owners to baptize and began doing so in Mr. Bronson's pond. In 1863, Madison was able to purchase his freedom for $233 with money he made by being hired out. After the start of the Civil War, not desiring to join the army to kill fellow man, he and his wife were hired to keep house for the clerks in Nicholasville for $500 a year. While there, he officiated at the Baptist church. Upon returning to Richmond in April 1865, with $616, he purchased a house. Along with David Tribble, he began establishing Baptist churches in southern Madison County. They bought land and erected a church, New Liberty Baptist in Bobtown. He preached there until 1873, baptizing 125 members. Madison was elected moderator by unanimous vote and continuously re-elected for 17 years. In 1892, he was elected assistant moderator of the General Association, which had a membership of 60,000. In 1879, Reverend Madison Campbell was instrumental in founding the Simmons Bible College in Louisville, served on its executive board, and in 1892 was conferred the degree of Doctor of Divinity. Madison was an active participant in Richmond's civic arena. Newspaper accounts show he was elected to represent Madison County as a delegate to the Republican convention held in Lexington in May 1891. Reverend Madison Campbell estimated that he walked 6,080 miles for the ministry before 1866, as a slave could not own a horse. 9,600 miles by horseback in his ministry, 1,940 miles by buggy, 1,600 miles by stage, 14,300 miles by railroad. He had 46 ministers ordained and licensed by him, 17 ministers ordained while he sat in council, and 71 deacons he assisted in ordaining. He baptized over 3,000 people while pastoring the Richmond Church for 35 years, New Liberty for 7 years, Kirksville for 22 years, and at Beattyville and other places in Madison County. He and his wife, Polly Ballard, had 14 children. Following her death, he remarried Roxanne Mobberly. He departed this life on September the 19th, 1897. Upon his death, the semi-weekly Interior Journal from Stanford, Kentucky, reported that the Circuit Court of Richmond adjourned out of respect to the Reverend Madison Campbell, whose funeral occurred at 12:30 Wednesday. It was the first time in the history of Madison County, and perhaps in the state, that such an honor was paid to a colored man. The Madison County Historical Society is pleased and honored to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to Madison Campbell, and accepting the award is his great-great-great-granddaughter, Danielle Embry. Few tears, this may take a minute.
I don't have anything prepared. I wish I could buy a house for $616. But I'm honored to be here amongst you all today to accept this award on behalf of my great great grandfather and my mom, Denise Burnside, who is my rock all the time. So my daughter and my son will be honored to know that this is part of their lineage. So thank you.
That does conclude our program.